Good evening, RE/MAX West fans. Charles Park, broker manager at RE/MAX West. It is 6:01 p.m. on Tuesday. It is September 13th already. Can you imagine? It's already halfway through September. It's amazing, eh? So I'm recording this for the benefit of the 21 some odd people that are supposed to be on this call, but I've only got 5 of you on right now. I'm sure people will probably roll in. Nicholas, I noticed that you registered again. Probably get the link. I tried sending the link out again last night. Did you guys not get that?
I just didn't get I don't know. I was looking for a link and I just didn't end up
No
seeing
problem.
it, to be
I'm
honest. So
wondering
I
if,
just
if everyone else is having that same problem. But you know what? I think that the fact that they know that I'm actually recording this is probably making them a little bit more comfortable that they're going to be able to come back in. So I'm going to email a link to this video when it is uploaded, so that you guys, in case you missed something or if you feel like you need to look at it again, it'll be available for you for weeks after this seminar is finished. So just to recap, we're going to go over the agenda just really quickly. Actually, I'm going to put that up on the screen for you guys. Let me find my Word. Let's share this. Okay, so this is just a Word document. If you can see this, today's topics are pretty simple. This is a light beginning. I don't want to hit you guys too hard in this program. So we're going to briefly talk about choosing a brokerage, okay, or your broker. We're going to talk about time management, work on your schedules. I'm going to give you a couple examples for that. We're going to go through a couple of scripts. I know how much you guys love scripts. So we're going to talk about scripts, how to approach buyer scripts, which really is a key indicator as to whether or not you can feel comfortable in acquiring business when, for those of you who are newer to this business, sometimes it's uncomfortable asking for business, right? I'm also going to talk about something that seems to be a bit of an issue out in the field when you guys first get your licenses. If you are going to show properties, you need to be familiar with the type of lock boxes that are out there. I will take a brief moment to describe those types of things. And I'm also going to go over some of the technologies that are available to you guys in regards to showing properties and the type of lock boxes that are available. For my listing agents that are joining me today, are going to talk about lock boxes and how they benefit your sellers, and why they would, possibly choose you because you can secure their property with electronic lock boxes. So this is a little bit different from the traditional RE-101 classes that I've taught in the past. I've modified this particular course because, as we all know, as time moves on, things change. And this course, in the 9.5 years that I've been teaching it, has evolved as well. And also, if we have time, I'm going to go into 21 skills actually. And I've been teaching this for years, that I think real estate agents should know in order to be successful at their job. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this. Where are we? Let me know if there are any technical issues that you guys are having, and then I can come back. So let's do a little bit of an introduction. You guys don't have to turn your cameras on. I'm not a stickler for that. But I do want you guys to be familiar with unmuting yourself. Kaz, welcome. There you are.
Good evening. How are you doing? Sorry, I'm actually trying to stay away from kids and came to a separate room so I can have my own time with you guys.
Hey, that is, you know what? That's the problem with working from home, right?
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm going to go across the screen. I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves really quickly. And I just want to get a gauge as to, for those of you who have never met me before, exactly where you are in your real estate career. And then I can sort of speak to that when I'm speaking to you. So take it away, Taz.
Well, hi guys. My name is Taz Iqbari. I joined RE/MAX West, and I believe it's been a little 3 months or maybe a little over 3 months. And I'm with my managers, Charles himself right here, the man, and still learning every day. So far, good experience, learning so much stuff, and still there's a lot to learn.
Absolutely.
And I just came to this course to accumulate more knowledge and get better in what I want to do and hopefully achieve things that I want to achieve.
Amazing, Taz. Thanks for joining us. Kumar, I just saw you you put your video on for there a second. If you feel comfortable, can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself? Kumar, are you there? Maybe he's getting set up. Joanna, I saw you earlier. You look fantastic today, by the way. Joanna, did you want to unmute yourself?
Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out how the video here works. Oh, here. Yeah, I'm here. Oh,
Hey,
here.
welcome. Hey. So if you could briefly introduce yourself, you're one of my senior agents, actually. So.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I got my real estate license in 2009, and I was working more full-time until about 2013. And then I decided to like take a break, work for like the family business. I was just handling our own family properties. So now I just want to get back into the market, and specifically downtown Toronto, especially in the condo market. And that's where I am. And I want to learn from the best.
You're learning from the best, Joanna. Thanks for joining us today. And I've got Nelson. Nelson, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Nice to meet you, Nelson. Where are you from?
Nice to meet you too. Remax West, High Park.
Oh, you're in High Park.
Yeah, sorry.
You're just down the street from me.
Oh, yeah, see, close by. I just come back from my country, so my language skills are still changing my mind.
Nelson, I hope that you learned something from this course. Are you new to the business or are you seasoned?
No, I'm new. I'm got my license in the beginning of the year, but I was part-time, and then I came full-time about 2-3 months ago. I'm working with a group already, Amanda Hayashi and Jean Dumé, HD group. And yeah, learning.
Fantastic. Well, welcome, Nelson. Nicholas, you're next. Are you able to unmute or put your video on?
Yeah. Let's see if this works.
Here you are.
Hey. So yeah, I'm 3 months new at RE-max West with Charles. New to the business, learning, trying to absorb information from different people and perspectives, and stay on top of the market and the market numbers, and just be informed as possible right now. And yeah, just try to go from there.
Right.
So
Thanks
excited
for
to
joining us,
hear.
Nicholas. You're going to learn a lot. Trust me. You actually joined kind of halfway between me doing the spring version of this course, doing the fall. So you kind of felt halfway in between. But you know what? You're gonna enjoy the next 2 weeks. This is pretty intense. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And next on my list would be Hamid. Hamid, are you there? You know what? Also, just to let you guys know, there is a chat box. If you're unable to unmute yourself, I know one time I had somebody actually join from their telephone. They didn't know how to unmute themselves using the dial-in system. So you can, put chats in the chat box as well if you're unable to talk. And you know what? Let me get into my managers. I see Charlene has joined us. Charlene, did you want to unmute yourself?
Hi, Charles. Sorry, I'll leave it like that just because I'm out buying cupcakes for a birthday, but I do the recruiting and the hiring for our office. And I just wanted to, of course, tap into Charles's expertise as well, and just sort of see what he's downloading and what he's sharing with you guys, so I can just sort of deliver the message on to other potential recruits that may be joining us. And I think this is totally relevant to our career seminars. So happy to see you all on here, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys all live. Hopefully some of you are joining us in some of our upcoming trainings. Thanks, Charles.
Thanks, Charlene. And last but not least, I've got Gina. She's one of our new Kleinberg managers. You there, Gina?
Hi, Charles. Hello, everyone.
I love that bookcase behind you, by the way.
So I'm kind of in transit. So at some point I'm going to switch to my phone, but I've got to get my daughter to hockey, but I cannot miss this. I love your classes, Charles, always informative. In this industry, knowledge is power. So I'm always willing to learn, and everyone should be willing to learn. The market's always changing. The law is always changing. All kinds of things are always changing, so we have to stay on top of it. And I am very grateful to someone like Charles, who's always on top of things. So thanks for this, Charles, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you. And for those of you who have recruits up in the north end, close to Kleinberg, please feel free to reach out to Gina. You guys can actually communicate with each other through the chat box as well. I'm going to be posting actually some links for you periodically throughout the course so that you guys have external resources that you can download directly to you. Also, I'm going to take this, as you can see, I've got 21 people on this spreadsheet. I know I had a couple of last minute people that actually registered for the course. Actually, Gary's joining us now. I'm going to take all the material. You guys don't have to take screenshots. You guys don't have to, take your phones or whatever you want and take pictures of your screen. I'm going to send you everything that I'm showing you as attachments in an email. So if you've registered for this course, you are going to get all the course materials in your inbox, either late tonight or early tomorrow morning. It does take me a while to upload this video. It will be on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. I will send you all a link and it will be available for you guys. So not only will there be a link to the video, but all the course materials that I talk on a day-to-day basis. Great. Gary, thanks for joining us. Did you want to unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Gary. I'm a brand new agent at RE-MAX West. My main office is in Kleinburg. I just started this career 2 weeks ago. And
Wow,
before
you're
this,
really new.
yes. And before this, I worked for Coca-Cola as sales development manager. So I've been in Coca-Cola for 7 years and decided to jump into real estate.
Wow, I'm gonna have to think of all the parables to real estate and Coca-Cola that I'm gonna be able to think of during this.
Sure.
Actually, there is a real estate agent that I work with at RE-MAX Goldaway, and she was a Coca-Cola executive, and she became a very successful real estate agent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, definitely.
And what I'll do is later on, maybe I'll let you know who she is. And if you ever have any questions on making that transition from being a Coke exec to being a real estate agent,
Yeah.
she walked the walk.
Okay, sure.
Okay, she was my
I'll reach
neighbor,
out to her.
actually. She lived on the same
yeah.
street as me in Richmond Hill, and she is the nicest lady that you'll ever meet. Coca-Cola does a
like
pretty good job in hiring good people, so I'm glad that you joined us. All
Right
right,
now
let's
it's a
get this
chaos, so-
started, guys. So you guys got a chance to look at the agenda. So the first topic is how to choose a brokerage. Now, for those of you, the vast majority of you, it sounds like everybody here is from RE-MAX West. So, thank you for joining RE-MAX West. I'm going to put a question out there, but I'm going to put this up on the screen. This is actually our website. So I'm going to go back. Actually, because it's a browser. Let me find my browser, and where is our company? And I'm going to share the screen for a map. So, you guys all see that? So this is the map of all of our offices. And it is the first thing that you see on our website, because I believe the greatest strength that we have, right, is location. Okay. Now, when you actually look at real estate as a business, as big a brand as RE-MAX is internationally in 110 different countries, the actual business of real estate is a local business. So it is imperative that the consumer believes that you have local expertise. Does that make sense? Would anybody like to refute that comment? By the way, because I know you all know how to unmute yourselves, feel free to unmute yourself and interrupt me whenever you like. Okay? Now, because in looking at this map, we pepper the greater Toronto area. So there should be no reason as to why we can't sell the entire GTA. And to go a little bit further than that, if I were to actually take this map and zoom out a little bit, you see our biggest neighbor just to the west of us is Mississauga. And I'm going to put this out to you guys as well. Did you know that there are multiple real estate boards in Ontario, and the vast majority of us are only a member of one? Why is that? It is the biggest real estate board in Canada, if not the world, with almost 70,000 agents. But did you know there is an entire world outside of Toronto? And if I were to take this and I were to zoom out, and I would zoom out again, right? You would actually see there's this little horseshoe that we call the golden horseshoe that surrounds the western part of Lake Ontario. We actually, as a company, are able to sell all of it. Now, are there opportunities in Kitchener, Guelph, Brantford, London, St. Catharines, Niagara Falls, obviously Hamilton, Burlington, our neighbors in Oakville, and obviously Mississauga. And even going farther north, are there opportunities in Barrie, right? Do we go as far as Prince Edward County in the east, right? Do we go a little further north? Do we support real estate up in Gravenhurst, in Bracebridge, Port Carlin, Huntsville? There's all this real estate surrounding us. Yes, our offices may only be concentrated in this area, which is quite a large area, but we service everything that I just mentioned. And I think it's important when choosing a brokerage that you understand we don't just live in Toronto. We actually service a good portion of Southern Ontario. And I'm glad that everyone here is a member of RE/MAX West, because if I were to show you, and I'll show you this on the technology day, the access to the information that I have, I will show you the market dominance that this company has throughout Southern Ontario. Okay, but in addition to that, what are the services that a brokerage provides? Okay, how about the history of a brokerage? We are, if not the original, one of the original RE/MAXes in Canada. We incorporated in 1980. Now, we're probably older than a lot of people on this call, right? I was 10 years old. Frank Colatasi, the owner of our company, chose to take a chance on a brand called RE/MAX. So as you can see, we're 42 years old, and we are the oldest brokerage in the RE/MAX system in Canada, right? In 1984, right, we opened up our High Park office. 1989, right, we were in the Kingsway. 1990, right, we acquired RE/MAX United, which is my previous office in the Annex. Okay, 1995, we expanded into Bolton. Right, in 2003, we purchased the East office, which is in Scarborough, which is one of the other offices that I manage. In 2004, we purchased one of the RE/MAX All-Star locations in Thornhill. That wasn't doing very well, but is doing very well right now. That was the previous office that I managed just before coming to the Scarborough branch. In 2009, right, we converted Village Park Realty into RE/MAX West in Roncesvalles. In 2012, we opened our doors in Kleinburg. And for many of you who know Kleinburg, there was almost nothing there in 2009. And look what a thriving market that became. In 2013, we only had 450 sales representatives. This is the year before that I actually joined. Imagine only 450 sales representatives. We are licking 800 agents today, which is in less than 10 years, we've doubled the size of our company. Right? In 2015, I had the privilege of opening up the Bloor West Village office, which is my headquarters personally, and it houses over 120 agents. We went from nothing to being one of the strongest RE/MAXes in Southern Ontario. In 2017, we opened an Oak Ridge. We purchased the last NRS franchise, and that is on 141 King Road in North Richmond Hill. In 2019, we opened a second location in Kleinburg. So we call that KB2, Kleinburg 2, because the office was bursting at the seams. And as of 2020, right, we had 575 sales representatives, but we won last year the highest net growth of agent count worldwide for the RE/MAX system. Now, you might ask yourself, well, what does this have to do with me being a real estate agent? I just wanted you guys to become comfortable with the company that you decided to join. Okay. Now, if you actually go to remaxwest.com, you're going to see a number of videos. Okay. This one in the top left-hand corner was the latest production video that we did just before the pandemic. If you guys ever have an opportunity to take a look at that video, it really does answer the question, why RE/MAX? Why RE/MAX West? So, if you have any colleagues that are in this business or thinking about getting into this business and are looking for a brokerage, just tell them about remaxwest.com. You're going to see all the services in the top corner here, right? These are all of our affiliated partners. Now, let's go through some of these things. Broker Bay, I'm going to explain a little bit later on. Next one, obviously, I'm going to explain later on. HR Download is mandatory training that we offer our agents that are HR related. We own a virtual tour company called VM360 Tours, right? Urban Nation, although was one of our partners, is no longer. We just recently actually canceled our subscription to Urban Nation. For those in the commercial industry, you would know what this is. But if you're interested in purchasing an Urban Nation membership, we still have access to individual memberships. We have telelisting for those people who are interested in prospecting. Now, Launchpad has actually most recently been replaced with Max Center. Just recently, Remax Ontario, right, has merged back into Remax International, and their system is called Max Center. So if you actually go to Launchpad now, this will actually take you to Max Center. Our longtime partnership with Back at You Media, I'm going to be talking about during Technology Day as well. This is, for all intents and purposes, your social media portal. It is what it was, and continues to be actually, one of the more powerful mediums in order to post content to all your social media platforms. So when considering joining a brokerage, who are they affiliated with, right? And what do they do for you in regards to social media, which is one of the most important up and coming things that we want to consider before joining a brokerage. We're also affiliated with the Rob Vivian Coaching organization. Now, Rob Vivian is a longtime friend of mine from I met Rob actually back in the days when he was a senior coach with Mike Ferry organization. So full disclosure here, guys, I will not be teaching you Rob Vivian scripts. I will be teaching you the original Mike Ferry scripts. And I have to give full credit to Mike. I do not remove his logos off of any of his documentation. I give him full credit for all these scripts that I have learned from 15, 20 years ago. And last but not least is income. You're going to see one more icon here fairly shortly. It's not here yet, but just recently, Remax International announced our partnership with KV Core. KV Core is Inside's Real Estate CRM, right? This is your customer relationship marketing system, your database. And then when KV Core, when their icon appears here, we're going to be doing an immense amount of training on how to utilize that CRM to grow your business. So does anybody have any questions on why they're with Remax West? Right? Or of any of the services that we offer that are mentioned in this one? I just clicked one thing. I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of you that have never been to our website and never clicked on this. Now, if you look over here, we have the Academy calendar. And we are constantly training. Now, I've worked for 6 different Remaxes, guys. And I can honestly say, I have never been with a company that has provided more training with agents than Remax West. It is constant. It is almost overwhelming. There is never, you can see, there's almost never a day where we're not training. And there's an enormous amount of training that isn't even on our calendar here. Okay, as you can see, the links and the registration for this particular course is all posted here. We're right here on the 13th. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this. And I'm going to look over to the right-hand side here. Got a few more people that have joined us since we last introduced ourselves, but I'm going to keep going in this course only because we've got only 2 hours and we've got a lot of material to cover. Kumar, did you have a question? Sorry, I think you're on mute. I can't hear you. Is something wrong with your microphone? Yeah, I can't hear you, Kumar. I'm not exactly sure why. It may be something up with your settings. But you know what? If you want to post something in the chat box, please feel free to do so. Okay, great. We're going to go on to the next topic. Okay, so this is how you choose a broker. We're going to talk about time management. What is time management? Anybody have a problem with time management? I think in all fairness, we all have one thing.
I'm still working on it.
You're still working on it, Taz?
Yeah. I
So,
gotta be
Taz,
honest.
I don't want to bore you, but you and I just recently had a business planning session, right?
Yes.
And we're going to be recapping some of the things. A lot of this stuff is going to look very familiar, but for the benefit of everybody else and for the recording session as well, I'm going to be posting all that information that you and I just recently went through during our business planning session. Okay.
Sounds
So
good.
the number one thing that I'm going to be sharing with you guys is a schedule. So let me share that screen with you. Share screen, and there it is. Now this is an old schedule. I actually created this schedule, God, 6-7 years ago for one of my Northwest agents. He had actually just joined us, I believe, from Sutton Group. And this particular agent, I won't tell you who he is, but had an enormous amount of time pressures put on him. He had just recently gone through a separation. He had a child that he had, periodic visits with, and was trying to run his real estate business while having all of these distractions coming at him. He was never more successful than doing a $50,000 or $70,000 worth of commission in a single year. And he came to RE/MAX under the assumption that we were doing something different for our agents. Why is it that per capita, RE/MAX agents simply sell more? Everyone asks that question. I'm sure you guys know agents that are outside the RE/MAX system, and they look at you and they go, "Oh, you're with RE/MAX, huh? Expensive." Is that really the case? How expensive are we? What's the point in paying money if there's no value? And the first thing that I said that is the difference between the vast majority of RE/MAX agents, who are vast majority are successful, is the time that they spend actually working. Now, this is an example of a schedule that I created for someone who had trouble having a schedule. It was just literally a leaf blowing in the wind. And I sat down and said, you know what? Let's work on something that's going to work for you. So your schedules may look immensely different from this. So let's take a look at a typical Monday for this guy. 7 a.m. Sounds like it's too early, right? You should be practicing the scripts that I'm going to be giving you today, right? And you should find a role play partner. That can be a family member. That can be somebody that you're comfortable with, and calling early in the morning. There are lots of early morning risers out there. You will be able to find somebody and say, you know what? I'd like to practice some scripts on you each morning. And you can pick somebody different all the time. But do you really think that if you don't practice what you say in any given day, that then when you actually have to use those words that come out of your mouth, that all the muscles in your mouth have to, be warm with? How are you going to sound when you actually need those words? So at 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., 2 hours, practice your scripts. Do them in front of a mirror if you have no one to practice them in front of. Record them. We all have these cell phones now, and these cell phones all have cameras and video and audio recording. So take a few moments and examine on whether or not you think you sound good. Okay, at 9 a.m., prospecting and booking appointments. What is the point in prospecting? What is the point in calling people and asking for business if you're actually not going to meet with them or schedule some type of appointment? Now you can see here, this is a 2-hour exercise. Now, in the course of 2 hours, where are my senior real estate agents here? Does anybody here ever actually prospected for 2 hours? Anyone? It's hard. It's one of the most painful processes in our industry. To actually sit down and make phone calls and talk to people and ask for business. I'm going to simplify that for you guys. I'm going to make that 2 hours seem like it's gone. But while you're prospecting, look at 11 a.m. You're not looking at your cell phone. You're not looking at your email. You're not looking at your social media. You are working. You are continually talking to people and filling up your calendar with appointments if you don't already have appointments. Because at 11 a.m., that's when you return messages. Believe you me, I don't know what's so urgent that can happen within a 2-hour period of time where they can't where you can't get back to them at 11 o'clock. Right? And that's a 1 hour exercise. You will be having conversations, returning voicemails, and checking out your emails and checking out what happened on social media. You have a full hour to do so. And if you need more than an hour, there's a problem. We all need to eat 12 o'clock. Okay. And somewhere in that 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., I'm imagining we're all having a good breakfast. Right. But at 12 o'clock, you really should eat. I will make one suggestion to you guys. Do not eat with people, if you end up eating with anybody, that will not do business with you. The lunch time is your time. And if it is not productive, and this is kind of weird, but I know that if we are in the office and someone in the office who's another real estate agent asks you to go out for lunch, how good of leads do you think you're going to get from another real estate agent? How good of a use of time really is that? Now, you know what? I'm all about, building camaraderie with your coworkers and stuff like that. But your coworker is probably never going to give you business. But maybe they will. And that's why you're having lunch with them. Okay? And at 1 o'clock, when you're done from lunch, give that person you had lunch with your full attention. Because at 1 o'clock, you can return emails, texts, voice messages, right? See what's happened on social media, like things, not like things, right? Comment on things. You have a full hour to go through that. Now, remember we were talking about prospecting and booking appointments? Let's say you actually booked an appointment. When are you going to have time to prepare for that appointment? That happens all around 2 p.m. And you've got a full 3-hour window to prepare your CMAs, prepare your listing packages. Let's say you're preparing for buyer visits. You're going to do research. You're going to be booking those appointments. You're going to be making sure that you have a full history of all the solds. So you can do a virtual CMA before you even show a property. Because what do people usually ask when you're at a listing? How much do you actually think this property is worth? It's funny, because in my pocket, I've prepared all the comparables for you. Would you like to take a look at them now, or would you like to take a look at them later? And these are things that make you more knowledgeable and seem more in tune with what's happening in the market. And then you seem like the expert. Okay? So prepare all that information before 5 o'clock, because I'm telling you, at 5 o'clock, when the vast majority of the world shuts down professionally and everyone starts to go home, that's when we get to work, isn't it? We start our work day at 5 p.m. because that's when everybody else gets off of work. That's when we're doing showings. If you're showing earlier in the week, it's also around the time that you're talking to listing agents if you're preparing offers. And you're trying to find out from them exactly how many offers there are, if there are any. You might be asking this simple question, what's your client's expectations if I send you an offer? And you will be preparing that information for your clients. Now, the beautiful thing that's happened over the last 10 years is we got introduced to e-signatures. Oh my goodness. So schedules have changed a lot because we have the invention of doing electronic signatures. But back when I was first a real estate agent, we didn't have that luxury. We actually physically had to go out and get physical signatures. Can you believe it? So we needed a lot of time to do that prior to presenting offers. But now we can do them so quickly. But you know what? Maybe you don't have any offers to present. Maybe you don't have any, properties to show. Please have dinner. Spend time with your family. You have my permission. It's your time because you're not giving it to anybody else. Now, usually after 7 o'clock, that's usually when those of us who are professional buyer agents, we're usually engulfed, submerged into the offer presentation process. And that can usually take hours. Back in January, February, 15, 20, 30 offers on a property. How long did it take for that listing agent to get through all the offers before getting back to our offer? Sometimes it goes to a second round. Sometimes it goes to a third round. I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to make you work after 9 p.m. I'm a pretty good guy. I'm going to get through all my offers, no matter how many there are, before bedtime. There are still agents out there that will carry this through, right through until past midnight. So for those of you who are new to the business, please be prepared. When you meet some of these, I guess, more antiquated agents out there, like to do everything in person. You know, hey, hands, you got to give them a hand. They've been doing this for decades, probably before you were born. And these guys know how to sell a property in person. And if that's the case, you're going to have to show up. Because I'm telling you, as a seasoned agent, when people don't show up for the offer presentation, sometimes I don't think they care. Sometimes they do. But the physical impression is that they don't. That's why they didn't physically show up with their clients. They weren't there when I came outside the front of the property and gave all the instructions on everything and how everything was going to be handled. Okay, let me get into the chat box here. There is a comment. Oops. Sorry for being late. Silent, not participating today. I can just be a listener. Thanks. Great. No problem, Hamid. And we're going to move on a little farther down. Actually, before I leave this, I want you to take a close look at Thursdays. This particular agent of mine had access to his son. So we made family time for him. When I tell you guys that your schedule should be untouchable, when you have access to your child, court-ordered access, I don't really think that you can be doing business when you're with your kid. Can you? So we had to put that in the schedule, and I told him, this is untouchable. And it should always be untouchable. So it's in there. If it's not in your calendar, if it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. You guys can write that down. If it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. That is the difference between a professional real estate agent and someone who just wings it on a day-to-day basis. And you can see Saturdays and Sundays, it's family time, guys. Spend time with your family. Don't think that because you're a real estate agent that you have to sacrifice that. Or spend time with your friends. I'm pretty sure that if you're going to an open house that are on Saturdays and Sundays, that doesn't happen every week. But obviously, that's why with that contingency right here, 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock. There's about a 4-hour gap in there where you can show properties and attend open houses. It's in your schedule, but if it's not something that you have to do, spend time with your family. You have my permission. We all have to have lives. I'm going to go for a little further down here. Now, if you're in coaching, so this is the Mike Ferry log sheet. Okay, this is a scan of one actually. If you guys are looking at this, I will send this to you guys. If you're in coaching, your coach will expect on a weekly basis for you to be filling out these daily. So you're going to come, if just say you want to work 5 days a week, I want to see 5 of these sheets. So when you're actually physically prospecting, we expect 50 contacts to be contacted in a single day. Can you guys see this? Because I didn't switch application, I'm still sharing my screen, right? Okay, so if the expectation is 50, but you're only able to do 5, look just below it. These are the leads generated from talking to 50 people a day. That's 10, which means you should, for every 5 people you contact, you should be able to generate at least 1 lead. That is the math. And if you're not generating at least 1 lead for every 5 contacts you make in a day, there's something wrong with your script. Something wrong with what you're saying, or there's something wrong with the people that you're actually calling. So if you talk to 10 people, you should be able to generate 2 leads, and so on and so forth. For every 5, you should be able to generate 1 lead. Right? And then looking at that, from those 10, if you call 50 people and you got 10 leads, you should be able to generate at least 5 appointments. That is a 50% chance of getting an appointment booked. That's it. And all the top agents in our system are able to book appointments with 50% of their leads. That is a statistical fact. So if you only got 2 leads generated, that should generate a minimum of 1 appointment, whether it be a buyer or a seller. Now, of all of those contacts that you've made, these are a list. Now, Taz, you and I actually went through this, right? There are a lot more than for sale by owners. You don't tackle expired here in Ontario. You know, people that are centers of influence and past clients. That's what PCCOI means. JL means just listed / JS means just sold, right? Lead follow-up from previous days, following up with people. And under other, I teach what's called an action plan. There are 32 different prospecting methods that I teach. I'm not going to teach them to you today, but I am going to tell you that you don't have enough hours in the day to complain, because there are 32 different methods that I teach for you to get business. We're only going to talk about a few. But if there's 32 methods and you've only done 1 or 2 things a day and you haven't gotten any business, what happened to the other 30? It's for a lack of trying, which usually ends up in failure. And I'm going to go down one more sheet.
Excuse me, Charles.
Yep.
I am unable to view your screen sharing, and here it just gives me that buffer, but it's just black. I'm not able to see anything.
Okay, I'm not. Is anybody
I
else
can
having that
see
problem?
I can see your video, but I'm not able to view your screen sharing. It just
Okay.
shows me buffer. It's still buffering.
It might be your internet connection. How fast is your internet connection at home?
It's pretty fast. I have a 1 gigabit.
Yeah, I'm on 1.5 gig. I Bell 5 here, so this is about as fast as it gets. Is anyone else having that problem? Can you not see my screen?
No, no. Like I said, I can only view your video, but not the screen. The screen's
what?
still buffering. I don't know why.
I'm gonna stop sharing. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you. Yeah.
And you, okay, so here, well, I'm gonna turn my video off. And then I'm gonna share my screen again, okay? Can you see this?
No, again, it's the same thing. Charles Park has started screen sharing and it's just buffering. What I'll do, I'll just leave the chat. I'll just
Is
leave
there anybody
the
else
call and I'll
that's
come
on a
back.
computer? That are you using?
I'm
the
on my
phone, or
iPad.
What kind of device are you using?
I'm on my iPad.
On your iPad. Interesting. So I'm not exactly sure what that might be, Taz. Maybe we'll have to test that when we get back to the office, okay?
Okay, well, I'll just do a test. I'll just leave the call. I'll join back again.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so anyways, if anybody else has a comment before I get move forward, is anybody else having technical issues? Please let me know, okay? So this last sheet, okay, this is your weekly summary. So you really have to be accountable to yourselves, guys. You're all independent contractors. How many days did you actually work? So it was a true 5-day work week for you, right? Please put 5 days. And then year to date, you can actually count the physical number of days that you actually work in real estate. The hours that you prospected. If it's 2 hours a day, right? After 5 weeks, that's 10 hours of prospecting. And based upon your 10 hours of prospecting, how many contacts did you make? How many appointments did you book? How many listings did you take for the week? And how many listings did you take for the year? Now, we don't work on expired, so we can skip that. But the listings that were canceled for the week, I'm getting a lot of cancellations, guys. You know, this particular market that we're kind of operating in right now, there are a lot of cancellations that are occurring for some reason. Okay, so it's okay. If your client says, you know what, I want to terminate my listing, or if I want to suspend my listing, log it. Let your coach know. Okay, and here's the funny thing. There are top producing agents that are out there that can literally look at people and say, you know what? I'm okay with not taking your listing. Well, the market shifted. The house is worth 1.2 million, yet they want 1.6. Did you take that listing? It's a 400. Yeah, maybe you might have been able to sell it for 1.55 back in January or February. But today it's probably worth 1.2, 1.25. So why would I want to take a listing that isn't going to sell? You can log that statistic, right? Listings sold for the week. If you are actually an active listing agent, how many did you sell? And how many properties did you purchase for your buyer? These are all questions your coach is going to ask you on a week-by-week basis. If you're a buyer agent, how many sales did you make as a buyer agent if you work on a team? How many price reductions did you cancel and relist also count? So that's another thing that I'm signing a lot of. Signing a lot of cancellations, but they're relisting the property. I think in the near future, if not the distant future, that practice is probably going to be coming to an end because it really mucks up the real estate board statistics. Okay, Gary, you got a question?
Yeah, I have a
unmute
question
yourself.
actually. My question is actually, where can I find like market stats where I can like track weekly report of price reduction info and active listing each week?
So I'm going to be showing you guys on the technology day, which is the last day of this course. So that would
Okay.
be on the 22nd.
Okay.
I'm going to be showing you Stratus. Now we're still using Stratus. Are you a Stratus user?
So I just recently signed, as you know, just a couple of weeks. So I have both access for Stratus and the other software.
So you haven't taken your mandatory TREP training yet?
No, I'm using the I'm doing the training. I'm only on the last module left. I think that's
Okay.
the last one. Is off the software one.
Are they still teaching you Strata?
Yeah, both of them. I use Stratus. Like the agents I work with in the office, they have shown me the Stratus how it works. So I kind of like it.
Okay, so we could manually extract the data that we're looking for.
Okay.
However, the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board provides a tremendous amount of information for your benefit.
Yeah.
Okay, and but you know, that's a slightly different topic than what we're talking about right now.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're good, are you going to be able to join us on the 22nd?
Yes. I'll
Okay,
join
great.
all the.
So that
So
is
I
one of
should
the
be fine.
biggest courses, to be quite honest. Like I usually never finish that in 2 hours. It usually goes 2.5 hours because there's just so much. That's my technology day. So you're going to learn a tremendous amount of tech in a
Yeah.
2.5 hour period.
Perfect. So yeah, we'll
You're gonna
leave
see
this course.
stuff that Trev will never teach you. Okay. Oh,
I'm excited.
you know what? What's funny? I really didn't introduce myself at the beginning of this, but let me finish this first, okay?
Yeah,
So
sure.
price reductions. If you did cancel and relist or reduce a price, you want to log that for your coach. Any deals that you submitted that fell apart, you want to track that that statistic. Anything that you sold previously and that finally closed. Hey, we know that there are deals falling apart, even though that they're firm. So until it closes, we don't get paid. So we got to keep a track of when things close, because then you know that you got to follow up to get paid, right? And let's talk about how much income we had for the week. So if you received a commission check, put that number in here and keep a track of how much money you've made year to date. And last but not least, we want to talk about how much inventory we have. Some agents actually take this and they'll say, here are my number of buyer contracts. Here are my number of listing contracts. That is my inventory. And if I have inventory, I'm in business. If I don't have inventory, I'm out of business. Okay, you can write that down. We all have our own little businesses. What's your inventory? Okay, so any questions about the tracking sheet? Okay, can everybody see this? This is your business planning workbook. Anybody can't see it? Because I'm going to go through this fairly quickly, because I just want to touch upon some of these points. Now, at RE/MAX, this is actually an older booklet. We do business planning with each one of our agents when they join our company. If you're a seasoned agent, you probably haven't had a chance to come back and do a business planning session with your manager. So each manager at each branch is required to provide business planning. Now, what I do is I put out a page every single October and I review your business plans with you guys. Because if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. If you don't know how much business that you're going to need to generate in your real estate practice for next year, if you don't have goals and you're just going to wing it, I'll tell you right off the get-go, you have a 99% chance of failure. You have a 1% chance of getting lucky. There's a lot of people that get lucky. 1 out of every 100. You might know some of them. I don't believe in luck, guys. I believe in destiny, and we can create our own destinies. So let's plan how much business we're going to do next year. Now it's already September 13th. So October is around the corner. You guys should be writing this. You need to take a look at last year and you need to fill in where your business came from. Now, for those of you who are new to the business, you didn't have any business last year. So guess what? You're going to be putting in this column 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. But look at all the different sources of business that are, guys, people that referred you, buyers, right? Or people that bought with you before and are buying with you again or selling with you again. Okay? Direct referrals, past client referrals, professional networking associations, results from your farming. Farming could be flyering or newslettering or direct mailing. The just listed, just sold process. Let me tell you, if you have a listing, you are going to get phone calls. And if you've just sold something, you have the most powerful marketing tool available to any real estate agent. I just sold this property. When are you thinking of moving? Open houses. Now, no word of a lie, my very first residential real estate transaction in this industry was generated from an open house. I'm not proud of it. Maybe I am a little bit because I have that agreement of purchase and sale hanging in my office. It's mounted on MDF and laminated and hung on my wall. Now, back in the day, all of our agreements were on legal size paper, 11 by 14. So it would look a little bit foreign. But when I look at that very first residential transaction that I produced, also many years ago, I think, wow, now I understand why I fell in love with this business. And I'm hoping for those of you who haven't done your very first transaction, that you take the time to frame that very first agreement, just the first page that you ever do in this business. And I want you to hang it on your wall. Because when you look at it periodically, you will remember everything that it took to get that deal done. Okay? So that's from open house. Online lead generations. Now we know that that's the most popular topic right now. How do we get online leads? We're going to talk about that. Your website, which is in reality your resume, okay, of who you are. Now, when we get KV Core, we're going to talk about your new website because they're going to give us free websites. But they're going to be much more functional than the websites of the past. Okay? For the traditional agent here, print ads. Now, I used to spend thousands of dollars a month printing ads in periodicals, in newspapers, in magazines. And I used to walk into listing presentations, bankers boxes full of my print ads. And I used to put them on the coffee table, right? Because they're low enough, reach into the box, and I showed my client samples of all of my print advertising, right? Maybe that's not as important today. Maybe we need to take the iPad out and show them all of our online ads. But you know what? Did it generate business? That's the big question that you guys have to ask yourself. Sign calls. Now, I know that for my seasoned agents, they're not always excited to get a sign call. You know, usually they're just tire kickers, right? People that just want to know the price of the house, and they're too lazy to pull out their phone and actually figure it out because it's already on MLS somewhere. But you know what? If you don't want to handle that lead, give it to someone who will. Or maybe you're the new agent and you can talk to a seasoned agent that has a new listing. Now, for all my agents, every single night, you guys get a listing recap emailed to you. How many of you guys actually pay attention to who's getting listings? And how many of you actually take that email and reach out to that agent and say, so who's handling all your sign calls? Would you mind if I handled some of them? Right? Have a relationship with people that are actually getting listings. You'd be amazed as how friendly the vast majority of agents in this company actually are. You know, only exception might be the team. The team leaders, they have to feed their team members. So they're not going to refer sign calls outside of the team. So if it's an individual agent that doesn't have a team and is willing to work with you to handle their sign calls, then put yourself out there. Expired prospecting, we do not do in Ontario. It is illegal. But unfortunately, there's some people that do it. We can talk about that at a later time, probably not online on a recorded call. FSBOs, so for sale by owners. If someone puts a sign on their lawn, they bought it at Canadian Tire and they stuck it on their lawn, that is an invitation to all of you. Contact that seller and try to get that seller under contract. There is a script that I can provide you guys on how to handle for sale by owners. Don't just knock on the door and say, you really think you're going to sell your house by yourself? That's a terrible question to ask for sale by owner. You can't get business by antagonizing people, guys. Learn the scripts. Learn how to bring them over to your side. I want you to be a convincing agent, not an antagonizing agent. Right? Email databases. Wow. One of the most powerful things at your disposal is your access to the email that are probably just sitting on your phone or in your email inbox that you never ever mind. All that power, all those contacts that you're not really interested in contacting. What if you actually sent out an email campaign to everybody that already knows you and you got one piece of business? Would it have been worth it? If you never try, you'll never know. Okay. Duty time. I have duty time in each one of my offices. For my Bloor West agents, we have an amazing event coming up this weekend. We have the Ukrainian Cultural Street Festival on Bloor West Village. So I've doubled up my duty time roster. I want to on-site 2 agents because we're going to have thousands and thousands of consumers walking in front of the branch. I know that I think Kumar, I think you volunteered wholeheartedly to take a 3-hour shift, right? So if you guys have opportunity to go out and meet people that you've never met before, I highly suggest you do so. Cold calling, the most horrific experience that agents ever have. If you want to be yelled and screamed at and sworn at, cold call people. But guess what? Once in a while, numbers game, right? You're going to talk to somebody who actually wants to talk to you. And it will make every other experience that you had up until that point worth it. And door knocking. There's the other activity that everyone dreads, especially during a pandemic. Nobody wants to see somebody that they don't know at their front door during a pandemic. But guess what? We're coming out of it. I think door knocking is going to make a surprise resurgence when people are actually comfortable. But don't be surprised if you're considering door knocking that you do get the people that are offended by you ringing their doorbell or knocking on their door. These are just some of the, methodologies that you can employ. And there's all this extra space down here that you can fill in for things that you think that you can do to generate business. Okay? If I'm going too fast, please slow me down. It's already 7 o'clock. We're halfway through this, guys. Listing appointments, a year in review. Hopefully you guys use some kind of tracking system like this very first sheet that I showed you earlier in the number of appointments that you went on. The reason why this is so important as a coach is because I want to know, as your coach, how many appointments you went on and how many you took. How many did you close? Because that's called a conversion rate. How many of these people that said they actually want to physically meet you, were you able to get a contract from? Now, I use that number, 50%. If you go on 100 appointments, you should be able to get 50 contracts signed. If you go on 20 appointments, you should be able to get 10 signed. If you only go on 2 or 3 appointments a year, can you get 1 contract signed? Now, this might sound intimidating to my new agents that are on this call. You actually mean we have to ask people for business, Charles? Yeah, you do. In person, right? You need something called a pen. That's a pen. I'm gonna shut this down. Okay. This is, oops, sorry, you guys can't see me because I turned my video off. That's a pen. Anybody not know how to use a pen? Do I need to train you on how to click, expose the ink, and putting that ink onto a piece of paper? Shouldn't have to teach you how to do that. So if you already know how to do that, why can't you offer the pen and have people sign a contract? It's amazing. That physical reaction, you actually hand a pen over to somebody, is so satisfying. You just have to be comfortable doing it. Pens. I don't want to start quoting Wolf of Wall Street quotes on the power of a pen, but it is one of the most important tools that you ever have. Now, there's also the power of the e-signature. If you're one of those, that's fine. I'm a technologist. I love e-signature. But what ends up happening a lot of the time, people sign stuff that they don't understand. When does that happen? Quite frequently, actually. To be a professional, I want you guys to go out there and I want you to picture yourself physically signing things, whether it be electronic or not, that you've actually handed them the pen and you've explained everything that they signed. Okay? Any questions on the business plan? Because at the end of that business plan, actually, I'm going to open it up again one more time. You take a look at this, guys. This is a summary of money. And at the end of your year, you're going to take a look at all of your totals. How many did you sell? How many did you list? What was the average sale price? What was your average commission? What were your average days on market when you got listings? Right? What was your gross commission? These should be numbers that are very important to you. And then finally, when you sit down with your manager, we're going to go through your expenses. We're actually going to sit down and talk about how much money do you spend a year, per month, per year? And do you make enough money to afford the lifestyle that you want to have? I don't think you guys would be attending this course today if you guys are all living the life that you actually want to be living. The only reason why you got into real estate is because there's a life that you want to have. And the only way to have that life, I hate to say it, you need money. I know money's not everything, guys, but it sure helps a lot, doesn't it? So we're going to go through individually a budget of what you can spend per month and per year, right? And these are all directly associated expenses to your business. And at the end of the day, I want you to tell me exactly if you're living, hand to mouth, or are you making so much money that you're now an investor? You have surplus money that you can invest. What a difference in your life is that ever going to make? I make so much money. I have so much money. I don't have anything to spend it on. Where should I put my money? That is a conversation that we should be having on a yearly basis. And I enjoy those conversations that I have with my top producers. How to incorporate and pay the government less tax so that they can have more money to invest. Great conversations. That is a great business planning session, guys. So I wish for all of you to be in that situation this early in your career. I want you to think about it. I'm going to email you this attachment so that you all have it. Okay? Great. I'm going to move on to the next section. Now, I don't know how much involvement. I don't usually get a strong involvement when I started doing these online. This is the 4th or 5th time that I've done this online. Usually this course is taught in person. We can actually bring some of you up to the front of the class and we can actually practice scripts. Okay, and this is a buyer script. This is the script that I want you all to learn because 99% of you will be going out there with buyers for your very first transaction. There may not be a tremendous number of people out there that are going to be able to trust you as a brand new agent with their listing. But if you have energy and are outgoing, you should have no problem in getting out there and showing people properties that they may want to buy. So let's talk about that. Now, do I have any volunteers? Let me ask you that. Does anybody want to read through some of these scripts? Anyone?
I can read it.
Fantastic. So let's go with number 1.
So we have Mr. and Mrs. Smith. May I take you through the buying process I use when assisting a buyer in purchasing a home? Sorry, let me start again. My background noise.
Yep.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith, may I take you through the buying process I use when assisting a buyer in purchasing a home?
Yes,
If yes, continue. If no, the interview is over.
that's right. Now, it seems a little strange that if someone gives you a no answer, that you basically end an interview, doesn't it? Your inclination is to what? Is to continue the
Get them to say
conversation,
yes.
right? So usually you can interject and say, may I ask you why you're not interested in the buying process? And usually it's because they're not ready or they don't trust you yet. And either of those things is fine. As being a new agent, you have to understand there's going to be people that are out there that aren't going to trust you, especially if they already know you. It's like, Taz, no, I know you're new, right? If it's okay with you, you know, I'd rather use an experienced agent. Should you get offended by that comment?
I wouldn't personally.
Yeah. But here's what's funny. If you have a good enough relationship with them, right? Sometimes they feel like they're learning, you're learning at their expense. But this is a perfect opportunity to start selling yourself and the organization that you're with. And that's why confidence is going to exude itself when you are more comfortable doing these things. Do you remember one of the first things that I asked you to do when you first joined the company? What did I ask you to do, Taz?
You asked me so many great things, and that depends.
Okay, the very first thing I asked you to do was to what? Book appointments, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Did you show? And I believe you took your wife. Is that what happened?
I did actually, and as a matter of fact, we both learned so many things in regards to the home buying process. There's so much things that involves that you really, as an actual buyer, because you're so invested in your own thoughts and thinking that I'm gonna go buy my own dream house, that you don't even think about what else is out there besides just going and purchasing a home. So there's so much things involved in a buying process, and it was a great experience. I mean, booking appointments, taking a tour of different structure of buildings, houses, homes. And I only remember the different structure when I was doing Humber. But when I went and I physically went and I looked, I touched the structures, I'm like, man, it is going to take some time for a new agent like me to get to know the structures, to present it really in a very professional way to the clients and customers. So you look good if you know your stuff.
That's right. Now, do you mind if I share that story about one of the very first properties that you booked an appointment for and you called me? You had trouble with the
Absolutely.
lockbox, right?
Yeah.
And what did I say? I said, you know what? Imagine if you were with a real customer.
Yeah, that would be very embarrassing. And that's the first impression is going to go kaboom.
That's right. You didn't know how to open that lockbox. That was.
But I had Charles' phone number. I had Charles' phone number.
So for the rest of the new agents that are on this call, if you haven't booked appointments to go show properties yet, what are you waiting for? There's tons of houses and condos and whatnot. Now, Taz, I believe you showed, the first thing that you showed was a house. That was easy. And then I believe you later on, you started showing condos, right?
Yes, I started with the houses, and mainly what I focused to kind of book a showing where the house or whichever home it was, it's vacant, because that vacant gave me a bit of more confidence knowing the fact that actual owner or the listing agent won't be there.
Right.
So it gave me a chance to kind of browse it on my own pace and get to know things on my own. So my first showing was a house, and then I moved on to, started with detached, then semi-detached, then I went to townhouses, then I went to condos, then I got to see those 3 building stories, 2 building stories, and every one of them was different from the another one. So to me, it was a great experience to learn about the structure. So if you know the structures, you look good when presenting it to your client or customer.
So would you recommend, would I recommend it to you, everybody on this call, even though you don't have a customer yet?
Absolutely,
What is the best thing to
100%.
do to prepare?
Absolutely. My honest feedback, absolutely. That's the best way for your own sake to get more involved in the home buying process. Because yeah, absolutely. I would highly suggest, coming from a new guy who visited several properties with different structures, learned myself so much. So now with confidence, when I have clients with confidence, I can tell them, okay, that's this, and this is how it works. That's a different structure. So yeah, again, when you know your stuff, automatically you look good in front of
Perfect. Okay. Now, do you want to read the next one, Taz? You're on a roll.
So number 2, all right, I'm going to ask my lender, Joe, to call you as soon as possible and discuss with you all the financing options available. This should answer all of your questions, as well as give you confidence you'll want in the purchasing of a home today. Can I have them to call you in the next several hours? If yes, then of course we'll continue. If no, then move on.
Right. It's such a simple question, but I don't know why all these new agents that have just recently got their licenses don't ask this question to their buyers. Why? It seems so strange. Doesn't it seem like common sense that you're probably going to have some questions about financing? Now, are we all experts on how to finance real estate? No, we're not. So why not give it to the people that are? Are we the ones that are actually going to get them a mortgage? Well, maybe somebody who has a mortgage bracket that comes into real estate, they might, but the vast majority of us don't. And I will be the first person to tell you, I don't even want to know anything about the mortgage industry. I'm a real estate agent. I will totally rely on people that are in that business to tell me, yes, your client's good to go. Go out and pay 1.4, 1.5 million. Go out and pay $750,000 to $800,000 for a condo. If I have that green light, now I go. If I don't get that green light, why would I want to waste my time? It doesn't make any sense, guys. And the number one thing that real estate agents are really good at, wasting time. So ask question number 2. Always. Okay? Now, can I get a different volunteer for question number 3? Anyone? Got a lot of shy people here today. I'll tell you what, I'll do number 3, okay? Once you and the lender have designed a financing agreement for yourself, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions regarding the type of home you want to buy. Have you outlined in detail the type of home you want to purchase? This question is so important. Now, for those of you who have gone through the college, there is a little document that a lot of you probably didn't pay a lot of attention to. It's called Working with a Realtor. Working with a Realtor has something in the bottom right-hand corner of that brochure or the one-page printed format, and it is referred to as critical information when you want to purchase real estate. You must communicate to your real estate agent what information is critical. Now, in saying that, if you're not communicating with your buyer on what is a deal breaker, and I'm going to give you an example. Would you consider living in a home that either fronts or backs onto railway tracks? Would you consider buying a home that either fronts or backs onto hydro power lines? Would you consider buying a home that is on well water and septic tank? Would you consider buying a home on a busy street or will potentially be a busy street? These are all critical questions that you should be asking any home purchaser because it now gives you a sense of what is important to them. There's the easy ones. I want to detach. I need 4 bedrooms. I need 3 bathrooms. I need a 2-car garage. I'm not even going to barely ask those questions because those will come out almost naturally. It's the circumstances in which when you go out and find this well-priced home, what are usually wrong with well-priced homes? And for my experienced and seasoned agents here, haven't you ever noticed that when you find something on the multiple listing service that seems like a really good deal, and you start questioning, why is this such a good deal? And then you start looking for things wrong with the property, and you realize, oh, God, it's a 1.5 story. It's not a 2. It's got low ceilings on the 2nd floor. Or it showed up as a 2-car garage, but the 2nd car is tandem. They're not side by side. So you're going to have to move 1 car before you get the other car in. Or you realize there's expropriation occurring down that street. They're widening the street for busy streets. And they're going to lose a good portion of their front lawn, which is going to affect the curbside appeal of this home. These are things that happen in our industry. You as a real estate practitioner, if you don't ask the right question, you're not going to get the right answer. Okay? Let's move on to question number 4. Once we've determined the type of home you want to purchase, I will select the 3 to 4 absolutely best homes in the range for you to look at. I don't want to confuse you by showing a lot of homes. Do you understand? Now, I got agents that want to show the entire MLS system to their clients. They're too lazy to ask any question. And I think if I just show them every house that's listed on MLS, they'll pick one. That's crazy. If you can, we work in such a good technological environment now. There's so much information on the internet. You actually see a listing. There's usually virtual tours. There's satellite photos and maps, right? There's walk scores. You can find out so much information about a property. What your job is to do is to ask, what is it about this home that you like? And what is it about this home that you don't like that would cause you not to buy it? If it's just price, that's something we can work on. But if it's on a busy street, can you fix that? Or if it's, it doesn't have the 2nd car garage, can you live with parking one of your cars outside? When you don't ask the question, you don't get an answer. So guys, ask lots of questions. Move on to number 5. Once we've looked at these properties, I will ask you to select one and write an offer to purchase that property. So weird. This week, I actually got a call from one of my agents asking if they could submit 2 offers at the same time. No. Unless one is conditional and one is not, or both are conditional. But realistically, what if they say yes to both? And you're going to have to provide deposits for both. Do you have twice the deposit? These are weird things that my agents are asking me. Because all of a sudden they find themselves in a buyer's market. And they've got so much choice, they don't know which one they want. And they want the best deal on the one, but they're on the market at the same time. And they're both receiving offers on the same date. You should pick one. Highest and best practice, guys. Pick the one that you want. Don't pick the one that you don't want. Let's go after the house that you want. And let's put in an offer. Okay? And once we've written the offer to the seller, number 6, once we've written an offer to the seller, I will negotiate that contract for you. Now, I don't want you to all be cowboys, cowgirls. What is negotiating? Negotiating is also a form of sales. You guys can write this down because I've said this many times before. I'm sure some of you have been with me for a little while. I've heard it before many times. Selling is not telling. Selling is asking questions. That is a quote from my friend David Long in my carrier organization. If you want to be a good salesperson, ask lots of questions and make sure they're the right ones. Now, for my listing agents out there, when an agent calls you and asks you questions, what are you inclined to do? You're inclined to answer that question, aren't you? So a good salesperson will always get answers to your client's questions. And the more answers that you can provide, the more that they're going to trust you. Okay? That is the art of negotiation. I don't care if you have an MBA in negotiation from Harvard. The Harvard School of Business will teach you the exact same thing. The difference between a good negotiator and a poor negotiator are the questions that you ask. Okay? And I'm going to teach you some of those questions. Number 7, based on the process that I use in helping folks like you find a home, do you still want me to proceed by having a lender call you? Or would you prefer to work with another agent? Now, it seems kind of harsh, doesn't it? Why would you even suggest working with another agent? Here's what you're actually testing. You're testing their comfort level with you. If you've done an absolutely stellar job at gaining their confidence in this process, this is a rhetorical question. Of course they're going to want to work with you. I don't want to pick another agent. Now you've got them. Hook, line, and sinker. And that's why question number 7 is at the bottom of this sheet. So I'll be sending this sheet to all of you. I want you to memorize these scripts, these questions, so that you sound natural when asking them, not robotic. If you memorize them verbatim, eventually it will become your own and it will just start sounding like you. Have you ever met an actor or seen actors on the big screen or the small screen and be absolutely convinced that the character that they're playing really is them? They've almost fooled us. They've done their job. So the role that I am offering everyone today is the role of real estate agent. And here's your script. Can you memorize your scripts? Tiff is downtown right now. Anyone going downtown to go see these independent movies? Every actor had a script. And their job was to convince you that they were the person they were portraying. And I want you to do the same. Any questions? I'm going to move on. Here is the easiest way real estate agents find business. It is your center of influence and past client scripts. People that already know you, like you, and trust you. Those are the 3 criteria for you to use this script. You know the person, you like the person, and they trust you. Okay? So people that you already know. Hi, this is Charles. This is a business call. You can talk to your friend and just let them know this is a business call. As soon as you say this is a business call, how do people usually react? Oh, now I got to take you seriously. Can't just joke around. Do you have a minute? Who do you know that would like to buy or sell real estate in the next 7 or 10 days? Whoa, what an aggressive question. But for my new agents who haven't written a deal yet, how hungry are you to do a deal? Would you like to do a deal within the next 7 to 10 days? Now, here's the problem that often exists. We will modify this to 7 to 10 months because it makes people feel more comfortable. Guys, my job isn't to make people feel more comfortable. My job is to sell real estate and find motivated people that want to buy or sell real estate with me. So if the question sounds a little aggressive, that's okay. Be aggressive. Now, it's a personal choice. But the reason why this script says 7 to 10 days is because it assumes that you're a busy person and you have the next 7 or 10 days available to help people. Okay? Number 3, can you think of anyone, your church group, family, neighborhood, office that needs my services at this time? Can't think of anyone. That's usually the response, or no. That's okay. To deal with that response is to acknowledge that you're okay with it. That's great. That's awesome. But would you mind if I gave some of these people that you're associated with a call? Someone from your church, someone from your family, someone from your neighborhood. And usually what's funny about question number 4, it relates to question number 3 that they've already said no to. But the magical thing is that they usually do have somebody that popped into their head, but they don't want you to know who that person is. But when you've circled around and you've asked to give this person a call, it usually comes out the second time. So there is a neuro-linguistic process to these scripts as to why we structure the questions in the order that they're being asked. So if there was somebody that they were thinking of referring to us, and they said no, and they thought they got rid of us, when we circle around back and said, you know what, can you have that person give me a call? Who, Jerry? Did I tell you about Jerry? It's so weird. And it's happened. That is the power of this script, guys. Okay? You guys getting all this? Let's keep going. By the way, when do you plan on moving? It's such a simple question. Have you thought about making a move? And this is what I said to a lot of the new agents that did the business planning session with me. I used to do an enormous amount of business by calling up my friends and showing them properties that they weren't even looking at, but I knew that they would love. I made buyers out of nothing. Hey, Taz, I know what street you live on. You live on this street, right? There's a house that just came up around the corner. What are you doing this weekend? You like to go see it? Now, I've been to your house, and I'm pretty sure that this house is bigger than yours and is probably finished a little nicer than your house. Taz, you there? If I asked you that question, would it perk your curiosity?
Absolutely. If I'm in a right state of mind and right state of position in terms of overall meeting the criteria, absolutely, I'm all in. But unfortunately, sometimes when you're not in the right state of mind and right state of condition, in a sense, having the meeting the financials and all those stuff, then it may not turn out to be good. Correct
But
me
you
if
know
I'm
what?
wrong.
But me showing you that house has done what?
Yeah, it gave me that sense of, well, I don't know. I mean, it all depends, I think, on individual situation. But of course, if I am looking for something and you're the one who brings it up out of nowhere, and that gives me that thinking in my mind that, you know what, I should consider what he's talking about, right? So it does give me that vibe to think about it.
Have I not automatically become your realtor?
Yeah, because you're the one who brought it up. No
You
one
got
else.
it.
Yeah, no one
That's
else.
all it
You're the
took.
one who brought it up.
But guess what? Agents are shy. They don't want to show houses unless they sign a buyer representation agreement. What? I'm sorry. Is that what they teach you in the college? To get something signed before you show any properties? Is that a college requirement?
No.
What do they teach you? The art of being persuasive has nothing to do with someone signing a contract with you. The art of being persuasive is being there at the right time with the right answers. Then you can sway people, move them to your side, create opportunities that didn't exist before. And this is such a simple task client and center influence script that you can use on family members and friends and co-workers that you used to. You all came from different backgrounds. And you can use this one sheet of paper and create opportunities that never existed before. Okay? So I hope that I can share this with you guys, that you'll internalize it, memorize it, learn it, try it out, and see what happens. I look forward to hearing your progress with this one script. Okay? And then when you've done this and you book the appointment, you go back to this and you take them through the process of buying a home. You see how they're correlated? How brilliant is this? It's not a system. It's a fact that this works. So I highly suggest you go out and do it. Okay, I'm going to move on, guys, because we've got exactly 28 minutes left. Okay. Before I show you my electronic lockboxes, which is at the end of this course, I want to read to you something that was created years ago. And I'm going to be sharing this with you. You don't need to download this. You don't need to take pictures of this. There are 21 business skills needed to succeed. And I'm just going to touch very briefly on a few key ones. The very first one on this list is communication. There are different types of communication. Now, I'm sorry, somebody that was in here, sorry, I'm going to go back to my list of participants here. Who was it that had mentioned that they had trouble with English? Was that you, Nelson? Nelson, was English not your strong suit?
Yeah, actually, it's not strong. I just came from my country. I'm from Brazil.
Yep.
And the switch is not turning on yet for the English. So sometimes I struggle a little bit to find the words, but a couple of weeks and it's going to be fine.
Nelson, let me tell you, I've been to your country. I've been to both Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro.
Nice.
Okay. So I love your country. Let me just go out there and say that. Okay. And I actually know a few Brazilian agents as well, because you speak Portuguese, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So I have many Portuguese agents in my office at the Bloor West office, and they speak, the same language as you do. But can I tell you something? The fact that you have a second language is an asset. It is not, a deterrent from you doing business. So I want you to share with me, you are strong in Portuguese. The Brazilian Portuguese is a little bit different. Am I correct?
Yeah, a little bit different. The accent is different. A little bit, some words are different from Portuguese from Portugal,
right?
But we can understand each other easily.
But you see what I'm doing here? I'm hyphenating with you in English.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing is trying to make you feel comfortable in working with me with your language. Now, here's what I can't do. The number one form of communication, unfortunately, is writing. So how strong are you with writing English?
Oh, writing is not that difficult because you can think, you can erase and do it again, and you can count on technology nowadays, right?
Right. I love Google Translate.
Actually, I use Grammarly.
Grammarly, that's another one, right? So work with me here. When you're communicating with people, is it easier to communicate verbally or in writing?
In writing.
In writing. So emails, you're comfortable with emails, text messages?
Yeah, because of this technology stuff,
Beautiful.
But to be honest with you, I'm a very people person. I love to speak, even though I just interrupt you.
No, that's okay.
And I'm working as a salesperson, I don't know, all my life, basically, different industries, but always selling, always talking, always trying to answer customer questions, trying to go ahead and have the answer before they make the answer, the question. And it's not that difficult. Sometimes the language is tricky, but the communication.
Right. So I'm so happy to hear this from you, because I think what you are doing is you're emulating what people already know. So it's okay to have English as your second language, right?
Yep.
Because you're using technology and the written word to convey your message. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Social networking. Social networking is actually not technically how would you put it? It is more important now than it ever has. When I actually created this course, I did not use social networking as much as I do now. And what is social networking? It is a pure form of communication, but on a social level. I do have arguments with my coach, Mike Ferry, on the whole fact that he calls it social media and not business media. But I'm going to argue with my own coach in saying that social media is business media. And without social networking, there is no business. Guys, you have to be sociable, personable, approachable, and responsive if you're going to have a social relationship with anybody, whether it be online or in person. Okay? Speaking. We're not all public speakers. I get it. I used to stutter as a child when public speaking. My father probably has a VHS cassette recording of me speaking.
Dad,
Yep.
Mark, mother charge button. Give it to me. Let me put it in charge, okay? Yeah,
Sorry,
go
Taz,
play
I'm
with mommy. I'm gonna
mute
put it.
you. But when you're publicly speaking, not all of us were ever trained to be good public speakers. However, you got to be comfortable. And this is the whole thing about confidence. Have you ever known something so well that you have no problem talking about it? But the minute you feel like you're talking about a topic that you're not so familiar with, you become very reserved and quiet. That is what I'm trying to change with newer agents. I'm going to give you the power and confidence so that when you're speaking with confidence, you have authority. Okay? Now, remember, number 4, remember what I told you about selling. Selling is not telling. Okay, but what does this say? You might think you do not need to sell, but we all say every day, from even when your first day, you will be selling. You know, when we were all children, Mom, I want this. Mom, I want that. And you pound whatever service you were on until you got it. You were the best salesperson as a child. Okay? Starting at your interview all the way to asking the boss for a raise. In normal life, we sell. Persuading your partner that you really need that new purchase, getting out of that parking ticket. Persuasion skills can come in very handy when needed. You guys are already salespeople when you were born. You were born salespeople. You just forgot. And then when you remember how you sold and how you got things done, now you really know how to sell in real estate. You were persistent. Persistence always pays off, guys. You didn't give up because you wanted it so badly. And that's sometimes the biggest problem that real estate agents have. They don't want it bad enough, they let it go. Okay? Let's talk about negotiation. If you can't sell, perhaps you can negotiate. A lot of the skills are the same, but you will find people who have been in business for a while can drive a hard bargain. Now, there's a lot of difficult people out there that are always negotiating. Haven't you met them? Welcome, Andrea. Andrea is one of the members of one of our larger teams in in my office. It's good to see you. And you could probably speak to the whole fact that you're always negotiating with your seller. Am I correct? What is it about sellers that often, right? It almost sounds like they're being difficult, but what are they really doing? They're negotiating, right? Andrea, I'm not sure if you're still with us. You might have just dropped off. Really, all I really want to say about negotiating is that people have the right to be difficult. We have to accept it. We have to anticipate it. And if you're going to be a good salesperson, you're going to have to be a good negotiator. You're going to have to learn how to deal with people that are being very, very difficult. And I'm going to teach you a little bit later on personality styles in order to get through all that. Communication, #1 skill, 1 through 5. Okay, let's talk about planning. And we talked about business planning. Okay, if you're not planning to, be successful, you're going to plan to fail. There's strategic planning, which is planning ahead. Always recommended. Okay, you can almost anticipate. Now, my seasoned agents will always kind of know what's going to happen in the course of a year. But when you're brand new to the business, you almost have nothing, you have no idea what to expect, but you can still create a plan. You can still go out and say, you know what, out of the 50 contacts that I've just put into my database, I'm going to work on 5, and I'm going to do 5 deals my very first year in this business. Now, those 5 deals might come out of 3 purchases, and out of those purchases, maybe 2 of my contacts actually own real estate and will have to sell. 5 deals. Make it a goal. Okay? A project. I used to be a project manager when I was in the information technology business, guys. But you know what? If you actually treat every single client and you lay out a project plan for them, you are going to be more successful with that client, and they're going to be impressed that you were so prepared and you had so many systems that you implemented. It makes your life and their life easier and less stressful when you have these stages planned all throughout your processes. We teach that in the Mike Ferry organization, and I'll share some of that with you later on in this course. Financial planning. I don't know what it is with the vast majority of real estate agents, but they're not very good financial people in our industry. They don't know how to handle money. You spend money that they don't have. You go out and buy lavish cars before they have the money to pay for them. It's important that you guys recognize that responsibility, especially in your finances, is going to be a key factor in your success in real estate. So don't spend money that you don't have. Okay. Risk. Don't take a lot of risk. You don't have to. Not at this stage of your career. Risk is for those people that can afford to lose. If you can't afford to lose, don't take any risk. Okay. And logistics. Money is cash flow. Let's talk about cash flow for 1 second. When money comes in, you can spend it. But until you get it, I would hold on. Now, I made the biggest mistake of dipping into all my credit lines and credit cards very early on in my career. Some of it paid off, but some of it didn't. And I ended up spending years catching up, trying to pay down those credit card balances. And we're talking tens of thousands of dollars, guys. It wasn't easy. And I know that a lot of people think that I can just do one deal. If I just do this one deal, I can pay off all my debts. But until you do that deal, don't spend that money. Okay? It's a logistical process. Okay, so that's the next 5, right? Sorry, productivity, time management. We just covered that really briefly, so I'm not going to talk about that too much. But let's talk about meeting management. When you actually meet people, let's actually read this. Most of us hate meeting, but they are in fact business life. That's what meetings are for. There's always a few who love them and the ones that avoid them. There are many tricks from firmly sticking to the agenda, to holding meetings standing up just before lunch, right? Whatever works for you. You can get meetings to be productive and under control, you will get ahead. And that speaks to controlling the conversation. The scripts that I actually give you guys that you're going to see, especially with the listing presentation, which in essence is a meeting, or the buyer presentation, you need to control the conversation. If you have an agenda for every single meeting that you have with a client, and you stick to that agenda, you will get much more accomplished than if you go off tangent. Okay? Leadership. Not all of us are born leaders. We're going to talk about personality styles later on in this course. Some of us are born leaders, some of us aren't. But you know what? You can lead, even if you weren't born to lead. And I'm going to show you how. Systems. I use this word I overuse this word, systems. And I've heard from top producers, the reason why people fail, because they didn't have systems, or they had the wrong system. What are those systems? We're going to be talking about that in this course as well, right? And personal productivity. We often talk about, and I'm going to talk about Bo Bichette. Okay, for those of you who are Toronto Blue Jays fans, he is on a hot roll. This guy can do almost nothing wrong. But you know what? He's capitalizing on this role. And so can you. If you're on a hot roll, if you're on a hot hand at Vegas, you're going to play until that hot hand ends. And it will happen in your real estate career, guys. And in corporate communications, and directly to do with your productivity. Why would you take a vacation when things are just getting hot. Bad choice. Okay? Next 5. I wish Jasmine and my social media people were on this call because they are my creative people. And sometimes not all of us are born to be creative. But you know what? I have a little bit of homework for you guys. And I think you're going to enjoy this. I want you to create something for me called a dream board. You guys write this down? Homework for Charles before Thursday. I want you to take any piece of cardboard, right? And I want you to write down or take clippings of things that you want. It could be a car, it could be a vacation, right? It could be, I don't know, another kid, a baby, maybe jewelry, it may be a hot piece of technology. Whatever it is, I want you to put it all in one spot. And I want you to post it somewhere where you can see it on a daily basis. It's called your dream board. I want you to imagine the most elaborate things that you would want in life. And I want you to give it a physical manifestation. I want you to be able to look at it. You will be able to take that as inspiration because you've been able to imagine it. It can become reality. Right? Can you all do that for me? Number 2, inventiveness, right? Now they say that necessity is the mother of invention. Not all of us can actually go out there and create a business out of nothing. But for those of us who have, we usually did it out of necessity. And that's when we become the most innovative. Problem solving. I'm actually going to share with you guys in this course, and look forward to this, the top 40 objections. So everyone has problems. Everyone has an objection. Everyone wants to create a problem. And they're going to test your knowledge on how you can solve that problem. Okay? Brainstorming. And this is why we're here together, guys. Honestly, we are all here to share. What somebody knows could, and you know, like I know things that you guys don't know, and vice versa. You guys will know things that I don't know. But I think we become more whole as a group when we share. So let's find some brainstorming groups together and making connections. That is all this business is based upon. It's connecting with the client, the people that are motivated to buy and sell with us. And I call it hyphenation. It's a sociological term. Sociology. Hyphenate with your prospective clients, and they will hyphenate with you. You will become their lifelong realtor, their family realtor, whatever it might be. And there will be residual business that will come of it. Okay, and we're almost done. I believe there's only, oh, one of these had 6 in it. Which one had 6? There were 21. You know what? I just wanted to glaze through that. You guys are going to get a copy of this. I'm going to stop sharing. And I am, wow, we only have 10 minutes left, guys. I'm going to share with you guys really quickly. Okay. I'm going to open up Broker Bay and I'm going to show, let's see here. The admin queue, type in my address, 3233. Showings. Admin queue, oh, I think it logged me out. Here we go. Segmenting. Okay, here we go. Share screen, where are you guys? Share, Broker Bay. It's my Chrome browser. It is. Share. You guys all see this? So I have administrative privileges in Broker Bay. And what I wanted to actually quickly show you guys was the power of the electronic lockbox, which is what I was promising to show you guys on the agenda. Okay, I'm actually going to pull this one out. For those of you who are brand new to our business, we're going to go out there and there's going to be all sorts, if you guys can actually see me on video, this is an electronic lockbox built by Master Lock. Okay, and if I hit the middle button here, right? It's going to illuminate, and you're going to see a whole bunch of numbers, 1 through 0, light up. And for this particular one, because it's brand new, if I type in 0005 times, it's going to turn green, and it's going to be able to open. Now, this is a hybrid technology that I'm showing you, okay? The reason why I'm showing you this is because you're going to probably come across something like this out in the field. Now, when you are given a lockbox combination, yes, this one takes a code, but it also works with Broker Bay so that if the minute it detects a Bluetooth connection to someone who's got the Broker Bay app and it knows that you have an appointment scheduled at that particular time, it will also open up the lockbox. Guys, it is time that we migrate from the old manual lockbox systems to the new age of electronic lockboxes. Now, as for my listing agents out there, it is really important that you guys understand what you're up against when you're up for a listing against other agents. The safety, the way that we protect a listing. Let's say it's a vacant listing. You know, there's no furniture in there. Oh, I don't have to worry about it. There's nothing to steal. But isn't it interesting that a lot of agents will actually go out there, assume that it's because it's empty, that they can go whenever they want. So what's the advantage of having an electronic lockbox? Simply this. This particular lockbox gives a temporary code that is only valid for a window of about 4 hours. Now, you only need a 15 or 20, 30-minute appointment to actually go show a property. But this particular lockbox will give them a temporary code within that time period. And then after that time period has expired, that code will no longer work. So I think about all my agents who got listings up in Muskoka. And you know what? It's far. It's 2 hours, 2.5 hours away. And you're giving out all these lockbox codes, and everyone that you've given it to, and you don't know who they've given it to, now has full access to that property. So wouldn't it be more prudent to have something up there, right, where you're not, physically able to visit it and manually change the code periodically? Put something up there that people can't use on a recurring basis. It will expire. And the beautiful thing about this as well, I'll show you my phone. So this particular listing, if I actually go into showings, I'm going to go into the showing configuration and minimize this. In the top right-hand corner, if you're looking here, you can see that I've got a master lockbox at this property. Okay. And this is the serial number that has been assigned to this particular lockbox, to this property. So I have several lockboxes. Now I'm going to not share this with you now. And I'm going to open up my app. And I'm going to show you what it looks like on my phone. If you guys can look at your screens, this is the Master Vault app. Okay, now you can see all 3 lockboxes that are listed there. Now the one that I actually used at this property, I believe it's the last one here. And if I actually click on it, there's the serial number. And when I scroll up, there's a map of the location of that particular lockbox. So that was 3233 Eglinton. And you can actually see that it geo-mapped exactly where my lockbox is. And if I go and I click on history, right, it's going to give me a log of everyone who's accessed that lockbox. Okay, so there is technologies like this available to us right here, right now, as brand new buyer agents going out there and getting appointments and getting lockbox combination. If some of them are electronic, you have to know that you can't abuse your privileges. People are watching you and they're recording what you are doing. I also have a Nest system that I lend clients to connect to Wi-Fi so that they can watch what the agents are doing inside the properties. And it's amazing the stuff that we pick up in these listings and the bad behavior that is out there. I don't want you guys to be caught doing these kind of things, okay? So know that you're being recorded. Know that electronic devices exist out there. And the number one thing that I caught in using that lockbox is when I had a tenanted property, upstairs was my client and they had a basement tenant, had to give 24 hours notice by law to that tenant before anyone could get an appointment. So people would book appointments for tomorrow, 24 hours notice. They would get a lockbox combination, and guess what they were doing? They were showing up the same day without the appointment. And I would get a phone call going, hey, I got this lockbox combination, but it doesn't work. I'm like, I know, because your appointment's for tomorrow. These are the kind of things that people do. Why is that, guys? Isn't it kind of weird?
Charles,
Yeah.
just to add to your statement, it happened to me like at least 3 times showing with my own client, not
Yeah.
with my wife. And exactly happened the same thing. Booked the appointment, and the funny thing is, the guys who actually showed me onto their broker bay, they had the appointment at the same time as I did. So I think there was some sort of technical glitch with the broker bay,
No.
and it
You can
happened to
actually,
me
you can
twice.
actually book, you can overlap appointments on Broker Bay. Did you know that?
I did not know that. And then finally, then I reached out to the listing agent who happened to be actually the owner of the property. I said, buddy, I said, I have guys right in front of me and they're not even giving me the key. And I have proof to show them. They have proof to show me. And we're all confused. We're all on a tight time. My client doesn't have enough time. So it just became a whole big deal out of it. And it was not pleasant.
So when a property is hot, generally the listing agent will not restrict individual 15, 30, 1-hour appointments for their property. Now, if it's not that hot and you're not getting very many appointments, why would you overlap appointments? It makes no sense, right? I would rather that you not overlap and book 15-minute appointments so that you can be more accurate as to when you're going to be in and out of that property. Wouldn't that just make more sense?
Definitely make more sense, but given the fact that the actual broker bay will allow, and it shows you, let's say for instance, there's 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and it shows you this time is available, and you go ahead and book that specific time that's available. When you get to the place, the guy shows the broker bay exact same time. I'm like, how is this possible? So I don't know if that considered as overlap, because both appointments were booked at the same time.
Can you
Same
see your
slot.
screen? Can you see your screen?
I cannot. Again, it just went black.
Okay,
It's
so
buffering.
yeah, there's something wrong with it. Might be your iPad as well, but we'll check that out later. Okay. Watch
right.
this. If you were able to see your screen, and I'm going to send you the recording so that you can see this, Taz. Okay.
Yeah.
Showing settings. Minimum showing notice 2 hours. So that's programmed in here, right? Overnight notice required is turned off. I don't require overnight notice because it's the landlord that is actually in this listing. Max showing duration. I got 15, 30, or 1 hour. And there's a little toggle switch right here that says allow overlapping showings, right? And also there's a pull down menu right here. It says, I don't, in between, if I'm really careful about people's appointments not overlapping, I'm gonna allow for say 15, 30-minute or 1 hour buffers between showing, just to make sure that people don't cross each other's paths. And I'll tell you where that comes in really handy. When I was selling luxury real estate, you do not want multiple buyers showing up at the property at the same time. They don't want to see anybody else at that property when they're there. And that's why all these settings exist in Broker Bay. Okay? But you're right. It is a toggle switch that will allow or not allow agents to overlap showings. And I'm not going to lie, when the market was hot and before COVID, you didn't care how many people were in the house as long as people got in. So I had in one particular day, probably over 50 showings. How do you book 50 30-minute appointments in a single day?
That's impossible.
Okay. So now you know why. Okay. Great. Any other questions before we wrap up here, guys? I'm going to show you the agenda for Thursday's class. I'm going to scroll down on my Microsoft Word file here. Week number 2. All right. Pull that down, move up a little bit. Here we go. Share screen. Oops. Where's my share screen? Share screen is not working. Oh, there it is. And my Word document. Okay. So it's 8 o'clock already. Week number 2, Thursday, September 15th, how to prepare a CMA, which is a comparative market analysis. Okay. I will be showing you Stratus. Okay. I know that the Realm one isn't currently ready or very good. So we're just going to focus on Stratus right now, even though it's going to be antiquated in the near future. How to prepare a pre-listing package. So for my listing agents out there, I'm actually going to go through a script and the physical contents that you will send out before meeting somebody for actual listing presentation. Also, the entire listing package that you will show up with when you go out to meet these people. And I'm going to show you the full 20-minute listing presentation on a video from start to finish. This is bread and butter system for listing agents. So if you're interested in being a listing agent, you are going to join me this Thursday at 6 o'clock, and we're going to talk about everything to do with getting a listing. Okay? Any other questions, guys? Okay. It's 8:01. I've gone 1 minute over my time limit. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. I look forward to seeing everybody back here, same spot on Thursday. Until then, take care, guys.
Thanks,
Enjoy your
Charles.
dinner,
Have a good night,
guys.
Charles. Thanks, guys. Take care, boys.
Have a good
Thank you,
dinner, guys.
Charles.
Thank you. Thank you.